This is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Prison, we need to talk about this.
Never been in.
No, me. I
Not
spent
yet.
spent a night in there, unfortunately,
did.
with Timmy Boston. And I needed some help from Timmy Boston in the prison cell, and unfortunately he was asleep on the concrete bed, Kate.
Oh, wow, must have been very tired.
Do you know what? We've all seen the movies, and what we do know, that there's always someone in jail that can get you something.
I understand you're a man that knows how to get things.
I'm known to locate certain things from time to time.
What a movie. What a movie. And we always go back to Shawshank Redemption when we try to imagine being in a prison and surviving in there. You go back to Red, don't you?
Yeah.
And
Get busy living, get busy dying. Sorry?
Wow.
I mean, what can you do in prison? Obviously, I've heard, there's obviously, you've got to earn money, you've got to get your rights.
Make number
Yeah,
plates.
but you're meant to rehabilitate. Isn't that the point?
That's a fair call.
Yeah.
But
I went to one and they had a bakery. They had a bakery in the prison. So
Well,
a
they
lot
have
of
to eat bread, I guess.
No, but a lot of it was a manufacturing bakery.
Oh,
working bakery.
amazing.
So the prisoners would make the bread.
that's
The
great.
bread
Well,
truck would take the bread out to, I don't know, the
The
distributors.
suburbs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you earn it, I heard as well that you can get a birthday cake on your birthday.
Can you?
Yeah, and a few prisoners, you're allowed to have a little party in your little cell there.
Do you
Just
sing?
just to remind you of what it was like on the outside.
13 24 10, and you can remain anonymous, but I'd love to hear from you if you've been to prison before and what can you do in there. This is really weird because people are freaking out. Sean Diddy Combs has just wished his daughter a happy birthday on Instagram, despite being behind bars.
How does he have access to his Instagram, or was that pre-planned, when you can schedule things?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my love. Happy birthday to you. Daddy loves you. And he's on his Instagram account say, Diddy's obviously got a phone in prison. How do you acquire a phone in prison?
I didn't think you're allowed to have a phone in prison.
There's a jail in Finland where you're allowed to you're allowed to borrow the prison car and go for a bit of a drive for the day.
Well, I think that must be low security. We're
Low
not talking
security,
about
yeah.
Goulburn, are we?
The prison that I visited, they had an issue and there was a recent drama because the prisoners had worked out how to make alcohol they were using the water that they would get from the irrigation from the sprinkler system in the yard. So they would actually end up brewing it in the sprinkler system.
What?
It would ferment in the sprinkler system and then they would drink it.
Like with
So when
potato
the-
skins or something.
Yeah.
And the guards were always so fascinated why everyone got so excited when the sprinklers came on.
It's
These guys
rain
are
and beer.
Well, you need potato, don't you? Potato is
Yeah.
what you need in there with water, and you let it ferment for quite a while.
It's amazing stuff what they're able to come up with, even if it's like homemade tattoo guns and stuff.
Well, it's survival, isn't it?
It is
internet-
survival.
The internet as well. They get the internet in there sometimes as well.
Do you need the internet to post on Instagram?
Well,
And
you
what
would
happens
too.
too,
Wi-Fi?
Of
Is that what
course.
it's called?
well, you might just have data. The other thing is too, what can happen is the romance that might start between a prisoner and a guard.
Yeah.
And then through that love connection, the guard starts slipping a few naughty things into the system.
This is the thing.
Help with escape. They help with that. Happened not long ago.
Did it?
Yep, helped with the escape.
It's a Hail Mary, but what can you do in jail? I mean, I know there's a majority of our listeners will not be able to give us a call on this one, but every now and then we've
what
done
have you
this
heard?
before.
Yeah, I had a. I'll tell you in a second, but I had fan mail from prison.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, can you
Ray
please
Ma.
hold on to that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it was written on.
Okay. Lauren's given us a call from Doonside. Good morning, Loz.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, good. Now,
Good,
you've
Lauren.
been to jail before. What are some of the things that we traditionally wouldn't think that you can do in jail, Lauren?
You'd be quite surprised what you get into prison.
Yeah.
Anything you can source on the outside, you can get on the inside.
How does it get in?
Well, through mail, through tennis balls over the fence.
Wow,
Through-
tennis balls.
Yes, they load up a tennis ball and then they hit it over the fence.
What if it gets into the wrong hands?
Well, I'm sure a lot
it's
of it
all
does.
Very.
Well, that's right. It's got to be timing, right spot, and they're very clever. You'd be surprised. You end up more corrupt when you go into prison than when you were out.
Yeah,
You learn very sophisticated things in there. To learn how to make things out of nothing. So out of bed sheets, you make like fishing lines. So you can fish stuff from other inmates while you're locked in your room.
Wow. So you're
I learned
saying
how to make a kettle out of a meal tin, a thong.
Yeah.
So I could boil a kettle, you plug it into the power, and you load your books up, you sit your cup on top, and the boil goes into the cup, but the rubber thong stops it earthing out,
Oh, my God.
this
and you
is
can boil a kettle. You use butter containers for cockroach bait.
wow, Lauren. So it's funny how you say that you become very clever, and because you don't have the usual means of getting things, you become more creative. Do you think then in that way?
Alcohol, everything. They make alcohol in jail
Yeah.
with bread, Vegemite, jam, you
Lauren,
name it.
Got the yeast
Lauren-
in the Vegemite.
Lauren, is it like Shawshank Redemption, though, where there is always someone inside that can get you things and you need to
That's
pay for
correct.
those? Yes, right.
That's correct. So there's bartering with your buy-up. Yeah, jail's disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to
It's not a
say.
nice place to be.
Yeah,
It was a hard lesson to learn, I can assure you.
Hey, Lauren,
yeah.
Yes.
do you mind if I ask what you're doing hard time for?
I went through a traumatic event
Right.
and never dealt drugs in my life
Right.
and ended up dealing drugs and got caught with a very large amount. I actually got 14 years
Right.
first offence in my life. And I've got it knocked down to 7 years, 3 months. So I actually served 4 years prison and 3 years, 8 months on parole.
Right.
After
Okay.
12 months of parole, I got released
Yeah.
Yeah.
for good behaviour. And, I'm now a dental nurse. I'm now doing extremely well.
Oh, that's
Changed my
fantastic.
whole life.
Yeah, Lauren, that is so
What a
wonderful
great
because
story.
it's very difficult for anyone to turn a traumatic event around, you know, so
I
credit.
ended up on methadone in jail.
Yeah.
Something I've never touched in my
Oh, my
life.
God.
Yeah, credit
Well,
to you.
can
So
I-
it doesn't sound as though you're
I'm
a big
off
fan.
methadone. I'm off everything. I'm totally
What-
clean.
What was the
Yeah.
turning point,
That's
Lauren? Can I
amazing.
ask you, what was the turning point?
The turning point to change my life, the
Yep.
effects of the ripple effect of my family and the trauma that it caused my family. It was awful.
Yeah.
Lauren,
Awful. I had a 2.5-year-old child, a 14-year-old daughter, a 16-year-old daughter. It's absolutely traumatic.
Yeah.
Lauren,
And
did
it's
you...
out of your, it's something that I didn't choose to do. It's something that, sometimes things
desperate.
happen in life that,
Yeah.
that some people can't take. And when they're in their own trauma themselves, they turn to the wrong avenue sometimes, Yeah,
Lauren,
obviously I didn't have the right people around me, the right support at the time, and I fell into the wrong things and the wrong people, and it happened so quickly. That was within 3 months. So within
my
3 months I
gosh.
was in prison.
Did you have a job in prison, Lauren? Like, was there an actual industry of
so
any
this is
type?
how it is in prison. So in New South Wales, if you're on remand, which I was for 17 months, which means you are not sentenced, you are waiting
Yep.
to be sentenced.
Yep.
You cannot
Yep.
work.
Waiting.
Yeah,
How
waiting.
awful.
And
So
then,
in that, there's 18 hours to spare in there. So you've got 18 hours to think of what you've done wrong and what you've did.
Yeah.
in
it's
your,
a long
in your
time
cell
to-
for 18 hours a day, are you?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Oh,
so
my
you
God.
get let out 8:30 in the morning. You're locked back in at midday, 1 hour for lunch, and then you're let out again, and then you're locked back in at 3:15 till 8:30 in the morning again.
Oh,
And so, and Lauren, you think you become more corrupt by surviving
I'm not
in there?
corrupt. I mean, in there, I learnt a lot of corrupt things, but I'm not
Yes.
a corrupt person. That's not my life. I don't live a corrupt life at all.
No, but you had to survive while you were in there.
That's correct. And it was very awful. I hated every minute of it
Yep.
because I was with people I didn't know, I didn't love,
Yep.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm a very family-orientated person, My mum comes from one of 11. I've got a huge family, and, it's not me at all.
No, you know what, Lauren? They must be very happy to have you back. And I don't just mean that physically, they mean that emotionally as well.
I've just bought myself a $50,000 car. I'm in a very good position. I'm doing very well for myself, so I'm very proud of where I am. It was hard work, but well worth the hard work.
Lauren, thank you for sharing. That is amazing.
We appreciate your honesty, Lauren. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
You were saying, Kate, that you were getting fan mail at one stage.
But you keep expanding on.
So you had a pen pal?
No, I didn't have a pen pal, but I did.
Your boyfriend?
Well, in the old
Conjugal
days,
visits?
in the old days, like people wrote fan mail. I mean, now they just you just get a DM, don't you?
Well,
Hi,
it took me hours to write it too.
So you'd get letters in your pigeonhole and you'd open them and I'd take them home and I'd send them a handwritten letter and send a fan card.
So you'd write something back?
Yes. And then when I got too much fan mail, I had a printed letter that I would also write a little note on and just say, thanks so much. I'm sending a printed letter because I wouldn't be able to respond at all if I didn't send this.
So did you get some really scary stuff, Kate? Was there some?
Oh yeah. Look, sometimes it was a bit on the like creepy side. Right. I think my dad, who worked at the the Campbelltown police station there in Queen Street, there was a man that would often call the police station late at night and ask for Dad and try and talk to him on night shift about me. But that was a follow-up to also creepy letters I received. Okay. So there's always that element. And you know what? I've kept like a handful of really unique letters.
So was it just one person or was it quite a few in prison?
You keep going back to the prison thing.
But that's where the letters were from.
Not all of them.
Oh, you're just talking about fan mail
I'm giving you a foundation.
The topic's prison.
Give us prison. Who was the guy in prison?
Do you know what? When you go to that you cheapen and trivialise the broader story.
What about the prison story?
Okay, the story is from prison that I got a letter from a guy from prison who said he was a big Home and Away fan, and that he was a bit older than me, and this wasn't a creepy letter, and he just loved watching the show, and he feels as though he grew up with me, and he was a bit of an older brother, and I'm not a bad guy. And all of this, and it was written on, I probably still have it somewhere, on sheets of toilet paper with a pencil.
That's beautiful. Like we've got our tradie nicknames.
Isn't it bizarre?
What? The toilet paper with your names on it. Yeah, you guys have really made it.
It validates. Like it paints a great picture though, doesn't it?
And the fact that that's what that person spent their time doing that day.
I'm going to write to Kate Ritchie.
And not to be creepy and not to ask for anything, but just to say, I feel connected to you. And obviously he's got a lot of time on his hands to be thinking about life. He watched Home and Away growing up with his mum. He felt like a big brother. Yep. And rather than not, and people don't do it enough now, reach out and just say something nice for the sake of it.
Did you write back to him?
I think I did, yeah. I would have.
Send him a fan card.
This could be series 2 of How to Make Gravy, which is coming out really soon.
Paul Kelly.
Yeah, write that down.
Well, it's like, it's the follow-up journey of the guy in prison writing letters to Kate Ritchie.
Did you nearly call me Sally? You did, didn't you?
Did Isla Fisher get one as well? Like
From
how
the
many
guy.
people was he writing to? That's what concerns me.
Why are you making what was a relatively feel-good story into a competition? I always got more fan mail than Isla.
What about Ada Nicodemo? Did you get more than her?
I don't know. I think...
Those Olivia Rodrigo tickets are not far away. I will save you, Kate. That is a really weird laugh. 2 doubles.
It's because it's so...
She's still acting.
I'm not...
Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.